Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Taming of the Shrew, and we get to hear from Petruchio today in a scene that, according to the folio, is part of Act 1, but some versions call it Act 1, Scene 2. Some call this Act 2, Scene 1. I could see this being Act 2, Scene 1 because the last that we saw of Christopher Sly and the lords who are watching this play within a play that is The Taming of the Shrew, the last that we see of them is at the very end of Act 1, Scene 3. So I could see them existing in Act 1, and then as soon as we're ready to move into Act 2, like we don't see them anymore. Anyway, it's a scene. Sorry, this play is not very well charted. They need a binder with tabs, but they didn't have them back in the day. So anyway, we get to hear from Petruchio in a scene today, and what we know up until now within a play, is that Baptista has two daughters, Catherine and Bianca. Everybody wants to marry Bianca. Catherine is a bit of a handful, so nobody wants to marry Catherine. But Baptista has said nobody can marry Bianca until Catherine gets a husband. So Gremio and Hortensio, who both want to marry Bianca, have decided that they need to team up and try to find a husband for Catherine. Meanwhile, Lucentio is going to pretend to be somebody other than himself. His servant Tranio is going to pretend to be him, so Lucentio can pretend to be one of Bianca's tutors so that he can get in and woo her while all of this other stuff is going on, even though he's not supposed to be wooing her at the moment. So anyway, this particular scene, be it Act 2, Scene 1, or Act 1, Scene 2, or whatever it is, or just part of Act 1, who knows, starts out with Petruchio showing up. And he is a gentleman who has come to Padua to find a wife. So he's shown up, and he's actually friends with Hortensio. So he and his servant Gremio, because Gremio and Grumio, it wouldn't be a Shakespeare play if we didn't have two people with confusingly similar names. He and his servant Gremio are outside Hortensio's door, and Petruchio's like, knock, and Gremio's like, knock what? And it's a whole big thing where Gremio starts to think that Petruchio is telling him to beat himself up and all this sort of stuff. So Petruchio beats him for not understanding what he's saying. But then Hortensio comes out because there's a bit of a hubbub, and he's like, hey, what's doing? My guys, how's it been? How you doing? And they chat for a minute, and Petruchio proceeds to say, I'm here to find a wife. And Hortensio's like, I know of somebody, but she's awful. She's kind of awful, so I don't even know if I should tell you about her. And Petruchio says, Signor Hortensio, twixt such friends as we, few words suffice. And therefore, if thou know one rich enough to be Petruchio's wife, as wealth is the burden of my wooing dance, be she as foul as was Florentius' love, as old as Sibyl, and as cursed and shroud as Socrates' Xantippe, or worse, she moves me not, or not removes, at least, affection's edge in me. Where she is as rough as are the swelling Adriatic seas, I come to wive it wealthily in Padua. If wealthily, then happily in Padua. So what he's saying is he just wants a rich wife. His father Antonio has recently died, so he just wants a wife, and she has to have money, and he has come to Padua to try to find such a woman. So Hortensio's like, yeah, but she's kind of awful, and but she does have a lot of money. And Petruchio's like, well, what's her father's name? He says, Baptista. Petruchio's like, oh, I know Baptista. He was good friends with my dad, so this will be no problem. And if it's cool with you, I'm going to go and start this whole wooing thing now because I need to find a wife sooner as opposed to later. So I'm going to go pay a visit. And Hortensio's like, let me come along with you. And Gremio's like, no, let him go by himself. This is a manly thing that he has to do by himself. Hortensio has a rebuttal for why he should go with, and that rebuttal for why he should go with is tomorrow. So is tomorrow's monologue. So we have a potential suitor for Catherine the Shrew in this Petruchio. Let's find out if she's rich enough. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.